Welcome to my channel. Support our channel by subscribing. Your subscription helps us grow and create more intriguing content like this. Now, let's dive into today's story. The story opens with the husband, a man whose life is well-ordered and devoted to his wife. He has always trusted her, believing that their marriage was built on a foundation of mutual respect and fidelity. Yet there is an air of tension, a subtle but undeniable shift in the energy between them. Recently, he's noticed her becoming more distant, frequently lost in thought and often preoccupied with her phone or business meetings that extend later into the night. At first, he brushes off these changes, attributing them to stress at work or perhaps just the natural ebb and flow of long-term relationships. Then, one evening, his wife sits him down with a strangely cheerful smile. She begins to talk about spicing things up in their marriage, but not in the way he expects. She tells him that she feels their relationship has become too routine and that she's been feeling a pull toward exploring new experiences. She says it so nonchalantly that it takes him a moment to process what she's really saying. She wants to go on a date with another man. She claims it's just a way to add excitement and insists it doesn't mean she loves him any less. She just needs satisfaction in a way that he, as her husband, can't understand. The husband is blindsided, feeling the world shift beneath him as her words sink in. His mind races between feelings of disbelief, betrayal, and anger. He can hardly believe that the woman he married would even consider something like this, let alone present it to him as a casual idea over dinner. Trying to keep his composure, he questions her, asking if this is truly something she wants or just a phase she's going through. But she assures him it's real, that this idea of a date with another man excites her in a way she hasn't felt in years. While he wants to explode, he realizes that acting out in anger won't do him any good. Instead, he makes a decision to play along for now, pretending to understand and even support her desires. Deep down, though, he knows that he can never see their relationship the same way again. His mind begins to turn over different ways to respond, to reclaim his dignity, and to show her that actions have consequences. Beneath his calm exterior, a fire of vengeance starts to burn. To give the betrayal depth, we delve into their relationship history and the husband's background. He's a man who has always prided himself on his commitment and loyalty. From the moment they met, he believed she was the one, a perfect match who understood him like no one else. They'd built a life together, shared dreams, and made plans for the future. They weren't wealthy, but he worked hard to provide for them, often putting his own needs aside to make her happy. Their home is a small but cozy apartment, filled with memories they've created together, photos from vacations, keepsakes from anniversaries, and gifts they exchanged over the years. To him, every corner of their home is a testament to their bond. He thought their relationship was one where, no matter what, they would always have each other's backs. But recent months have started to tell a different story. He notices her dressing differently, spending more time on her appearance even when she says she's just going to work. She seems almost eager to leave the house, a contrast to the woman who once loved cozy nights in with him. She's become more secretive, guarding her phone and spending time texting late into the night. Her laughter echoes from the other room, but it's no longer shared with him. Still, he tries to convince himself that he's imagining things, that perhaps he's the one who's changed. He brushes off these signs, hoping they'll pass. But as her suggestion of a friendly date settles in his mind, he realizes that he can't ignore the truth any longer. She's clearly lost interest in the life they built together. And worse, she's willing to betray him to satisfy her fleeting whims. This growing realization shifts something inside him. He begins to see his wife not as the woman he fell in love with, but as someone who's become a stranger, someone who values her own desires over the vows they made. The more he thinks about it, the angrier he becomes, and with that anger, a plan starts to form. If she thinks she can play him for a fool, she's about to find out just how wrong she is. The husband's suspicions reach a tipping point when he overhears a conversation she has with a friend. One night, as she's getting ready for bed, her phone rings, and she steps into the hallway to answer it. Thinking he's asleep, she doesn't notice him quietly slip closer to eavesdrop. Her voice is low, almost conspiratorial, as she laughs with the person on the other end, talking about how exciting it'll be to get out there, and how refreshing it will be to have a night out without any commitments or expectations. His heart sinks as he realizes this friendly date is nothing of the sort. It's a full-blown plan to explore something outside their marriage with someone she's clearly been confiding in for some time. The playful tone in her voice, the way she talks about him almost as if he's an afterthought, cuts him deeply. But instead of confronting her then and there, he holds back. He's determined to expose her fully, to reveal the depths of her betrayal in a way that leaves no room for excuses. Over the next few days, he quietly gathers evidence. He installs a tracking app on her phone under the guise of enhanced security, and even sets up a couple of small cameras in their apartment to catch her interactions on the nights when he's working late. The more he sees, the clearer the picture becomes. She's not just dissatisfied. She's actively seeking excitement with someone else, someone she's been getting to know behind his back. One evening, he checks the footage and sees her dressing up for her date. She applies her makeup with a level of enthusiasm he hasn't seen in years, picking out a dress that he bought her but rarely saw her wear. The anger he feels is almost overwhelming, but he knows he has to keep it bottled up if his plan for revenge is going to work. This isn't just about exposing her betrayal. It's about making sure she understands the depth of the pain she's caused. Here's the continuation of the expanded story for the remaining sections, carrying forward the same level of depth and emotion. The husband knows the time has come to confront her about the reality of her date. He decides to make his move in a way that will leave a lasting impression, planning for a confrontation that's both calculated and public. He finds out the exact location of the restaurant where she's meeting this man, and without her knowledge, books a table for himself at the same venue. On the night of her date, he watches her prepare, feigning indifference as she leaves the house. Once she's gone, he dresses in his sharpest suit, taking a moment to compose himself in the mirror. He's a mix of fury, heartbreak, and a fierce resolve. He drives to the restaurant, his mind racing with thoughts of how the confrontation will unfold. A part of him feels sick at what he's about to do, but another part feels empowered, knowing he's taking control of the situation. As he walks into the restaurant, he spots her almost immediately. She's seated across from a man, laughing and looking completely absorbed in the moment, as if she's living out some fantasy. His stomach twists with anger, but he stays calm. He walks up to their table, and when she finally notices him standing there, her expression changes from carefree to horrified in a matter of seconds. He addresses her in a tone that's both calm and laced with anger. "So, this is the friendly date you wanted to go on?" he says, loud enough for people nearby to hear. Her face turns red as she stammers, trying to come up with some excuse, but he doesn't give her the chance. Turning to her date, he says, "Did she tell you she's married? Or that she lied to me about this?" The man looks uncomfortable, clearly not expecting to be caught in the middle of this, and mumbles something about not knowing she was married. She tries to deflect, saying it's not what he thinks, that it's just one date. But he stops her cold with a glare. He tells her that she's broken something between them that can never be repaired, that her quest for excitement has cost her the stability and trust they built over the years. His voice is steady, but his words cut like a knife, leaving her visibly shaken. By now, the nearby tables have taken notice, and people are watching the scene unfold, her humiliation becoming complete. He turns on his heel and leaves her there, knowing that he said all he needs to. She's been exposed in front of her date and the public, left to face the shame of her actions alone. Once he's back home, the husband sits down and starts planning his next steps, fully aware that confronting her in public was just the beginning. He realizes that he doesn't want to simply end the relationship and walk away. He wants to ensure that the pain she caused him will resonate in her life, just as her betrayal has changed his. He starts by securing his finances. Knowing her dependency on their shared income, he quietly redirects his assets and savings into a personal account that she can't access. He calls his lawyer, initiating the paperwork needed for a divorce, but he's careful to keep this under wraps for the time being. His plan isn't just about financial revenge, though. He wants to strike at the things she values most, her reputation and her ambitions. Over the next few days, he systematically goes through their social circles, dropping hints about her actions without fully revealing everything. He tells family, and even some mutual acquaintances that they're taking some time apart, citing her need for new experiences. The story spreads subtly, painting her as someone who wasn't satisfied with the life they'd built, tarnishing the pristine image she's always maintained. But he saves the most cutting blow for last. His wife has been working on a side project, a blog she's been building up as her passion. She spent years cultivating an audience, hoping to make it her full-time career. Knowing she uses his computer and that he has access to her accounts, he waits for the perfect moment. Then, one evening, after she's left for another meeting, he logs into her blog and, with a few well-placed clicks, erases years of her work. He backs up the files for safekeeping, but she won't know that. When she returns that night, she finds him waiting, calm and collected. He tells her that he knows about the blog and that he's deleted everything. Her reaction is one of pure disbelief and devastation, the full weight of his revenge finally hitting her. She breaks down, pleading with him to understand, to forgive her, but he simply watches her crumble, the satisfaction of his revenge washing over him. After the confrontation, the husband decides to test the waters of his own newfound freedom. He reaches out to an old friend, a woman he once had feelings for before he met his wife. They meet up, and though it's not technically a date, it feels good to be around someone who respects him, listens to him, and values his presence. Their meeting helps him realize that his wife's betrayal isn't a reflection of his worth. For too long, he's been trapped in a relationship where he's poured himself into someone who didn't appreciate him. Spending time with this old friend brings him a sense of peace and clarity, reminding him of what genuine connection feels like. The night ends with him feeling hopeful about the future. He realizes he doesn't need his wife's validation or approval. For the first time in a long time, he feels free. The divorce proceeds, and with each legal document signed, he moves further from the life they once shared. He's thorough, ensuring that his wife receives only the bare minimum she's entitled to, stripping her of the comfortable lifestyle she once took for granted. She's left with just enough to scrape by, forced to come to terms with the consequences of her actions. When she finally confronts him, accusing him of cruelty, he responds with a simple truth. "This is the life you chose when you decided I wasn't enough." His words are a final blow, leaving her to deal with the fallout of her decisions. Months pass, and the husband finds himself happier and more at peace than he's been in years. He's found a rhythm to his life, one that doesn't revolve around pleasing someone who would never be satisfied. His friendships grow stronger, and he begins to rebuild his confidence, finally letting go of the bitterness and pain she left behind. Reflecting on his journey, he realizes that he's learned invaluable lessons about loyalty, self-respect, and the importance of being with someone who truly values him. The experience has made him stronger, and he feels ready to open himself up to love again someday, knowing that he deserves someone who will reciprocate his commitment. To close, the story would end with a message to viewers. Thank you for watching this story. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you seek revenge or choose a different path? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that explore the complexities of love, betrayal, and redemption. Every story has a lesson, and we hope this one resonated with you.